Egg to Bee by Camillus de LA Bedoyere. What is a bee? A bee is a type of insect. Insects have wings and 6 legs. There are many types of bee. Honeybees visit flowers to collect their sweet nectar and pollen. They use the nectar to make honey. This furry bee is a bumblebee. It sucks nectar from a flower. Bees are important insects. They help plants to grow and to grow seeds and fruit. This is a sweet bee. Not all bees have yellow stripes. This is a female honeybee. She has a stinger at the end of her tail. The story of a bee. Many bees live together in one home. Their home is called a hive. There is one queen bee in a hive. She lays eggs. When an egg hatches, a larva comes out. A larva grows into an adult bee. It is called a pupa during this stage. A bee's egg is tiny. It's about a tiny fraction of an inch or 1 millimeter long. Soon, each egg will grow into a larva. The story of how an egg grows into an adult bee is called a life cycle. Number 3 is a pupa grows wings and legs. And number 4, an adult bee looks very different than to a larva. So number 1 is egg, number 2 is larva, number 3 is pupa, number 4 is adult. In the hive, many thousands of bees can live in one hive. The queen lays all the eggs in a hive. She can lay thousands of eggs in her lifetime. Most bees in a hive are worker bees. They are all females. Worker bees look after the hive and the eggs and collect food. Worker bees build a honeycomb inside the hive. It is made of wax and it is full of holes called cells. This is where the eggs and honey are stored. Drones are male bees. They have fatter bodies than worker bees. A queen can live for 4 or 5 years. Some of the drones will mate with the queen. Each cell will be filled with either honey or an egg. Laying the eggs. In spring, the queen bee mates with drones. The drones fertilize her eggs. The worker bees have built wax cells for the eggs. The queen bee lays each egg in a cell. The queen makes a special glue. She sticks the egg inside its shell. Most cells have just one egg inside them. 3 days later, each egg hatches into a tiny white larva. The queen bee can lay hundreds of eggs every day. Each wax cell has a hexagon shape. It has 6 sides. Growing and eating. The worker bees feed the larva with pollen and nectar. The larva grows bigger. Soon they are ready to change into adult bees. The larvae are still inside their wax shells. After feeding, the workers put a cap on top of every cell to close it. The workers make sure that every larva has enough food. Inside each closed shell, the larva changes into an adult bee. A bee is called a pupa when it makes this change. As the pupa grows, it looks more like a bee. A bee appears. 10 days later, an adult bee comes out of the wax shell. It looks different from the larva. Each bee has 6 legs and 4 wings. It has large eyes and a hairy body. Worker bees have stingers, but drones do not. The bee eats away the cap in the cell so it can climb out. The bee has large eyes to find flowers. There are 2 big feelers on the bee's head. A honeybee has yellow and black stripes on its body. Busy bees. Most of the new bees are worker bees. They have busy lives. Worker bees collect pollen and nectar from flowers. Yellow pollen is collected in pollen baskets. The bees take it back to the hive. A worker bee has pollen baskets on its legs. When the bee visits a flower, the baskets fill up with pollen. Bees have a strong tongue. They use it to suck nectar from flowers. Worker bees use the nectar to make honey in the honeycomb. In the hive, worker bees are busy cleaning and feeding the larvae. How bees live. Some bees live in the wild. Other bees live in special hives. Wild bees build nests in trees, roots, or walls of buildings. Beekeepers build hives for their bees. They collect the honey and the wax that the bees have made. A group of bees is called a colony. Beekeepers wear special suits that the bees cannot sting them. Beekeepers take honeycomb from the hive. It is full of sweet honey. We eat the honey we use beeswax in makeup, food, candles, and shoe polish. A new queen. A hive may become too small for all the bees that live in it. When this happens, it is time to make a new hive. The queen bee leads the bees out of the old hive. They fly to a new place to build a new hive. The bees are ready to fly away. They are now called a swarm. In the old hive, the larvae have grown into adults. A new queen leaves her cell. She takes over the old hive, and the life cycle begins again. A queen's cell is bigger than the other cells. The queen climbs out of her cell. The workers will clean her.